meeting to order in just a moment. But first, I'd invite you to stand and join me in the pledge, and then Councilman Brian Powell will bring the invocation.
Let's pray. Father, we love you. We thank you so much for your goodness, for your protection over us, for the city. And we just ask that you just be with us as we deliberate tonight. We ask you to be with our country in time of conflict that we're in. We ask you to be with all of our men and women who are in the battle. Be with our president, his staff, as they lead us in this, and just protect them, give them wisdom. Be with us tonight now, Lord, and we thank you, and we thank you for your love for this city and how you've blessed us so much. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Brian. All right, now I will again welcome you to tonight's regular meeting of the Springdale City Council. This is Tuesday, March 10th, 2026, and we'll start things off by asking our city clerk, Saber Jeffus, to call the roll.
Mayor Sprouse?
Here.
Brian Powell?
Here.
Amelia Taldo?
Here.
Jeff Watson? Mike Overton?
Here.
Mike Lawson?
Here.
Aaron Huntley?
Here.
Randall Harriman?
Here.
Mark Fougerus?
Here.
Deputy City Attorney Garrett Harlan?
Present.
And the City Attorney Ernest Cates? Over there.
All right, thank you. And welcome up here, Garrett. Nobody's going to wonder how you're going to do. We're not going to, you'll do fine. Yeah. We're at item 4, comments from our residents. If we have any residents that would like to address the council concerning an item that is not already on tonight's agenda, I would ask that you come to the podium, clearly state your name and address. Please keep your comments to no more than 3 minutes, and that council will not take action on anything you bring forward tonight. Is there anyone that would like to address the council concerning an item that is not on tonight's agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on then. And council, thank you for hearing this. I've invited, Carol, are you coming? Carol Morales with Accelerate. And I see, yeah, and Brad Sikorsky, they're coming to, this is a program that y'all are all aware of, and I'm gonna set it just a little bit, y'all. I did not feel comfortable at the time with the financial questions and the compensation for our employees and some other things we were considering during budget time. So I did not put it in this year's budget, but I did talk to both Brad and Carol and told them that I would certainly be willing to bring it forward where you all could consider maybe funding it another way out of our reserve if you see fit. So there's nothing prepared. There's no resolution prepared. So at the end of this, you can do nothing. You could have them come back, have us prepare a resolution for the next committee meeting. I will tell you that the next committee meeting, I'm going to be in D.C. If that makes any difference, it probably doesn't. But then, or you could invite them to come back. We could have a resolution for the next council meeting, which is in 3 weeks. Remember, we're bumping council an extra week because of spring break. So anyway, Carol?
Yes, sir.
Brad, y'all go right ahead and tell us what you want us to hear.
Thank you, Mayor Sprouse. Appreciate you. And council members, thank you for having us again. This is an update on Upskill NWA. So if we can go ahead and go to the next slide. I know that the council is pretty familiar with who Upskill NWA is, but for those in the audience, I'd just like to share that we were launched in 2021. Or announced in 2021. We were formally launched in January of 2022 with our first 100 participants in Upskill. Tonight, we have several Upskill NWA Springdale residents that are in the audience today, so I'd like to welcome them here and their families. Upskill NWA recruits non-traditional students who can't access higher education without Upskill NWA. You see 3 pictures here. Ashley, she and her daughter, beautiful daughter in the audience. You see Tyler Peacock, who you heard from the last time we were here. And then Sean Petty, who is also here this evening. Thank you, Sean. They represent are non-traditional students. So these are folks who are 24 years old or older with a high school diploma or GED. They meet an income threshold of less than 80% AMI. They reside in Madison, Benton, or Washington County. And again, they're non-traditional students who can't go to school without our support. And we provide tuition support, coaching, mentoring, and life skills training for our participants. And the program has done very well, if you'll recall. But if you don't, I brought along this slide. So you can see here that we have served 420 NWA residents since January of 2022. And so we've exceeded those measures of success annually, which I've reported here in the council meeting. We work directly with our community partners to recruit members of the ALICE population. And ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, but Employed Residents. And those are folks who are working right here. They're bartenders, they're teachers, they're police officers maybe, but they're working right here in this community. Upskill NWA retains 87% of our graduates right here in Northwest Arkansas, and that's significant. You'll hear a little bit more about that with Brad. And they're working with our employer partners. 78% of our graduates are actually working in Washington Regional Medical Center, Mercy, Arkansas Children's, MANA, and Northwest Health Systems. It's also important to note that our participants sign a contract when they sign up to be part of Upskill that says they're going to graduate from college and they're going to work for the employer right here in Northwest Arkansas for 2 years. 92% of our participants have completed that 2-year commitment, so we retain talent here in Northwest Arkansas.
So to bring it just a little bit closer to home, Upskill has supported roughly 100 Springdale residents to date with an investment exceeding $2 million. To put a little bit finer point on that, roughly 28% of the participants in Upskill are or have been Springdale residents. The makeup of those folks, we've had 39 folks that have graduated from the program and 57 folks who are currently active in the program today. And important to note, these are folks that are filling high demand, critical roles in our community. And it's transformative to them and their family. The average Springdale participant that's graduated from Upskill has seen their income increase $33,000 from the time that they started the program to the time that they graduated the program. What that means for the city of Springdale is $1.3 million of additional income that these folks have to spend back in the community. And importantly, these folks are now in high demand, high wage careers that have opportunity for advancement. And so I'll get to the punchline pretty quick. What we're asking is that the council consider $250,000 out of budget funding to support this program going forward. It's important to note that this ask would cover 3 years. It would be for folks that are starting the program in 2027, 28, and 29. That $250,000 ask represents 3% of the total funding that we are looking to pull together to support this cohort of 300 students. To date, we have had financial support from Benton County, Washington County, Rogers, Fayetteville, and Bentonville. And importantly, participation from all the municipalities is an important catalyst for us when we go to raise additional funding. When we go particularly to charitable donors, the fact that other municipalities have put money into this program is a major selling point for them to give. And one thing that does come up from time to time is asking about Springdale support. The other thing that's important just to point out is this funding is meant to be a bridge. It's meant to be a bridge to sustainable funding. We don't want the city of Springdale or any other municipality to be a forever funder. We have a plan that will get us to sustainable funding consequent to these 3 years. What these 3 years gets us is a little bit longer track record to continue to prove this program out. That track record makes us a lot more eligible for federal and state funding. So, I mean, if we continue with these results, over that duration, it makes it a whole lot easier to access other funds. So that's what we have in the way of a presentation to ask. We decided to keep it short and sweet. I'm happy to address any questions y'all might have.
I have one quick question. Notice the number of LPNs you have. How many of those are going on, working toward their RN degree?
Oh, I don't know, because we require that LPN to work within their licensure for 2 years. So we track them when they graduate from Northwest Technical Institute to the time they complete that 2-year commitment to the employer. So we don't know what has happened or what other
You don't
degree
know
they're pursuing.
how many of those then that decide to go on, because there's a significant
Yeah.
increase in,
Yes, sir.
income for the RNs versus the LPNs, so I was just curious about
Yeah.
that.
We've only had a handful of graduates actually even make it to the 2-year mark because the program's relatively new, but we can look into that.
Is that something you'll be able to track, though, for the future?
Well,
I don't know how that works with working with the
Yeah.
employers, but is that something you could?
We could even look at if they're received a promotion, like while they're with the employer for 2 years, we have reporting available to us. So we can track if maybe they got either tuition reimbursement to pursue a higher degree, or if they've gotten a promotion, so they're now in a different role. We can track those things for those 2 years.
Because if the council decides to do this, in 3 years, if you're not fully sustainable by then and have another ask, that might be good information
Yes,
You
yeah,
bet.
thank you.
that they could have for that.
So can you talk a little bit more about this money
Yeah.
staying in Springdale for Springdale residents?
Yeah. So it's important to point out, our ask, $250,000, that's put alongside a whole bunch of other funding. So we've got funding from Accelerate Foundation. Historically, we've gotten funding from the Walton Family Foundation. All of the hospitals have put in funding. If current trends persist, right now, Springdale residents make up roughly 28% of the folks that have been in the program. What that would mean if we get 300 folks through the program over 27, 28, 29, that's roughly 80 Springdale residents that we would put through the program against the $250,000 that we're asking for. Obviously, it takes a lot more money than $250,000 to put them in,
We'd over-index.
but we've historically, well over-indexed with Springdale residents.
So remind me, Carol, when you and I spoke yesterday, I think you said that the average person who goes through this program receives about $25,000 in benefits. Is that right?
That's right. That's right.
To be honest with you, that's part of the challenge that I have with this, because if you think about us funding $250,000 and it's a 3-year duration, that's about 3 people a year that we're putting through this program, if you really think about it. And, you talk about the investment that we would be making and the place that we could put these funds if we did not put them in this program. 3 people's not a lot. So that's just, again, as I've thought about it, that's the challenge that I have with it.
No, I think that's a fair challenge. The way that I would probably address that is, these funds are put in a much larger pool to support the folks of Springdale. So it is $250,000, but that's ultimately helping support 80 residents get through the program, which works out to be probably about $3,200 per Springdale resident, if that makes sense.
So the 250,000, the way you could look at this, but the 250,000 actually buys into the program existing and being available.
That's right.
Yes.
So $250,000 is part of a $7.5 million pool. that we are raising to kind of lift our neighbors up in this program. And again, if historical trends persist, we would expect roughly 28% of the folks that we put through to be Springdale residents.
We wouldn't deny anybody that came from Springdale after the $250,000 is gone. We would keep bringing residents on board.
Is that request 250,000 for a 3-year period, or is it 250,000 per year?
Only 250 for a 3-year period.
That's right.
And what is the connection of upskill NWA to NTI?
That's where our LPNs go to school.
So that they just provide the education, there's
Yes.
no connection other than that?
Right, they provide, now we are on campus there, meeting with our participants every week. So we have a good relationship with them. We sit on their advisory board, LPN advisory board, and our participants go to school there.
And
You
we
have-
obviously pay tuition.
Yes.
You have all these programs of study like registered nurse, radiology, imaging, surgical technician, respiratory therapist, EMT, health information management, but primarily the LPNs go to NTI.
Yes, sir. They only offer LPNs now in their allied health services. They used to offer.
So the other
surg-
places of education for these other fields would be somewhere else?
Yes, it's NWAC, it's UAMS, it's U of A.
How are the participants selected or recruited, or whatever that term is?
Yes, so 45% of our residents refer to us through word of mouth for participants that are currently in the program. The next thing we do is work through our community organizations to access the populations that they serve. So we were just with Camp Alliance down in Little Rock addressing their constituency, if you will, of 222 service members. Some of them are residents here in Northwest Arkansas. We've gone through the Benton County Extension Services. We've gone through Benton County Veterinary Offices. But we work with big groups, Dress for Success as an example, to recruit and do the outreach for our participants.
It might be worth also explaining, we vet based on income
Yes.
and factors like that. I mean, the intent of this program is to help folks that just don't have, that want to participate more fully in the labor market, but just don't have the financial oxygen to do so. So our stereotypical participant is, a single mom, might have 2 jobs, wants a career in healthcare, but just couldn't do it on her own. And so we screen very heavily for folks like that.
That's right, that's right. We also provide a career navigator for each of the participants. So the program, there's tons of resources out there. You can get scholarships, there's pools, small pools of money. The thing that makes our program different is that you have a career navigator. So that's somebody who does the case management and all of the data capture that's very important to proving out this program. But also, it's the coach and mentor to the participant. This is a non-traditional student who maybe is going to college for the first time and they're 35. And they need help. They need help navigating the education system. They need help connecting to the social services that provide those wraparound services that they need, like childcare and transportation. That's a big differentiator
Yeah.
for our program.
But importantly, I mean, one of the reasons that our graduation rate is so high, an aspect of it is the career navigators. An aspect of it, frankly, is we screen for grit.
Yes.
These are folks that have been out of school for, in some cases, 10 years. They're working multiple jobs, and they recognize, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And those are the type of folks that we try to go after.
What is the percentage of acceptance into this program versus your applicants?
Yeah.
I don't have the exact percentage, Aaron, but I'll get it for you. We have had well over 2,000 applicants apply to upskill.
I'd like to bring a resolution forward for the support of $250,000 to the first committee meeting in April.
I'll second that. Do we have an idea of where the funds are, where we're taking those out of?
My suggestion when I was meeting with Brad and Carol was to take it, we're sitting with a very healthy, unreserved, somewhere 28 to $30 million right now. How much? Oh, about 25 now. And a one-time, or at least one time for 3-year expenditure of $250,000 to get the ROI that this demonstrates, I would support. But that was, my idea was to, I tried to, it's always tough during budget time, and I know y'all like to have these things budgeted. But I just didn't want, I didn't want it to get lost in the budgeting and the discussion about compensation for our employees and all the things that we deal with every year at budget. And I thought with our healthy reserves that we might be better off to just ask if you would be interested in taking it out of the reserves.
So
yeah,
I think Amelia's, that's a good question, is how do you fund it? So it seems to me like that we just refer to the finance. That's Finance Committee's job, is to determine whether we have funds wherever they are.
Yeah,
And
I was just trying to answer the question, what I think the obvious place is, but the Finance Committee will ultimately decide that if they pass it, would be to come out of reserves. But
is that okay with you, Randall, just refer to the Finance Committee? And you seconded it?
first committee meeting in April. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Other comments or questions? Anyone else in the audience, or, okay?
We appreciate your consideration.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you so much.
Thank you all for being here. It's up on the board. I'll call for the vote. Great.
Motion
you.
carries 8-0.
And thank you all for being here, and for our visitors who've gone through the program, thank you for being here as well. All right, item 6, approval of minutes. Council, you've had the minutes. Any motion to approve as presented?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Procedural motions. What's your pleasure, council?
I move for both A and B.
Okay, we've got a motion. Did we get a second? And a second for both A and B? Call for the vote.
Motion carries 8-0.
All right, thank you. And Paxton Roberts is here for the Downtown Springdale Alliance report.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Paxton Roberts, and I serve as the Executive Director for Downtown Springdale Alliance. Tonight, I want to do 3 things. We're going to briefly report on our 2025 contract, show the measurable impact of the work we had downtown, and then connect that work to the strategic direction for 2026 and beyond, which has to do with the city contract. The key message I want to leave you with tonight is that downtown management is not just about events, although that's what we spend a lot of time talking about. It's about stewardship of one of Springdale's most viable and productive civic assets, which is the downtown. We are proposing a model for civic infrastructure that helps protect, activate, and grow one of Springdale's most productive economic assets. So our 2025 contract focused on core downtown functions, public space reservations, digital communications, beautification, and coordination with city planning efforts. What matters here is that these are not isolated tasks. They are interconnected functions that help the downtown operate as a district. In 2025, we helped tell Springdale's story in a more consistent and visible way. We maintained an active downtown events calendar. It included over 350 events and activities going on in downtown. We produced more than 250 social posts, and we reached nearly 80,000 people on Facebook and Instagram alone. We also distributed weekly e-newsletters to more than 4,300 subscribers each week. We also sent targeted press releases for key events. So this is more than just about visibility. It's about building a recognizable regional identity. A strong downtown story supports business traffic, visitor interest, and Springdale's competitiveness for talent and investment. Our website increasingly functions as a digital front door for the downtown. It generated strong traffic, but just as importantly, we made information easier to access and continued streamlining the reservation process. That kind of systems work may not be flashy, but it matters. It reduces the friction for residents, businesses, event organizers, and city staff. It also makes downtown easier to use, easier to understand, and easier to navigate. Now, for public space management, this is one of the clearest examples of DSA's operational value. Last year, we processed 91 event applications, which was a 72% increase from 2024. That is an incredible increase over the use of Shiloh Square, Turnbow Park, and Luther George Park. We administered monthly public event committee meetings where 68 applications were approved, which resulted in 45 events happening in downtown last year. Now, as you know, many approved events were canceled last year because of the weather, and some of our largest events were impacted. So this creates real capacity for the city without having to expand permanent payroll. Now, in terms of impact on these public events, downtown, it's significant. In 2025, downtown events at Luther George Park, Shiloh Square, and Turnbow Park, and Emma Avenue, like parades, drew more than 38,000 attendees. That results in an estimated $1.2 million economic impact on the city. And those are using conservative numbers. So events are not just entertainment, they're a part of the infrastructure of place, and they generate foot traffic, support local spending, and shape how people experience Springdale. On downtown development support, our role is increasingly connective. We responded to more than 45 inquiries from developers, property owners, and business prospects. We also provided street-level input into planning efforts, including the downtown master plan update last fall and housing-related work. Our role is not just advocacy, it's coordination. We help coordinate adopted plans to real downtown conditions and opportunities on the ground. We're also focused on protecting the public investment and improving the everyday downtown experience. So that includes work such as helping with the Shiloh Square upgrades, Luther George Park construction closeout, and some of the ongoing efforts for plantings and shrubs and landscaping in the park, as well as helping to secure support for future recycling efforts. We worked with the Boston Mountain Recycling Waste District to secure a $25,000 grant that will go to help developing a recycling and trash policy for downtown Springdale. So these details matter because downtown is judged not only by the major projects, but whether it feels cared for, whether it's functional, and whether it feels welcoming. So small business support remains central to this work. We engaged with more than 20 businesses on openings, expansions, and retention, and supported key milestones like the opening of the Star on Spring, the first hotel in downtown Springdale, as well as groundbreakings for Via Emma and the Sundry Hotel. We also held stakeholder meetings monthly, and we focused on issues such as the outdoor dining district, which we plan to relaunch this year so that we can have an even deeper economic impact and support those businesses downtown to stay open. So business support is not separate from the activation, but it is one of the main reasons for doing our work. So here's where we transition from what we delivered in '25 to how we intend to operate going forward and is relative to the 2026 contract. Our strategic financial plan that was recently completed is called the Downtown Advantage. And the core argument is that downtown Springdale is entering a new phase. The question is no longer whether downtown has momentum. The question is whether we can convert that momentum into sustainable economic, civic, and cultural value. Can we keep the current trajectory that the downtown is on? So as we move through the remainder of 2026, we're shifting from a reactive activation approach to a proactive value creation. Our focus areas continue to be the stewardship of the downtown master plan, public space activation, and downtown business support. But we're also focusing on institutional coordination, destination storytelling, and operational discipline. And that last one is especially important because we're asking to be evaluated not as a nonprofit asking for a grant or general support, but one as a performance-based service provider. This is a service contract. We have to come through with the service that we are signing up for. So this means defined roles, measurable deliverables, and more transparent accounting. So why invest in downtown? Because downtown is one of the city's strongest tools for long-term resilience. Strong downtowns generate more economic activity in less space. They support small businesses, and they create community gathering places, and they concentrate public value where infrastructure already exists. This is why our plan frames downtown not just as a placemaking priority, but as a growth and resilience strategy for Springdale. So downtown is often the city's main destination for visitors because it brings together events, food, culture, and experiences all in one place. It also plays a major role in talent attraction and retention, as you can see by the Tyson offices downtown, which they are expanding this year. Vibrant, walkable downtowns help cities compete for workers, families, and employers because they improve quality of life and they signal energy and confidence to the market, which is something really important for investors and developers who are looking at supporting and investing in downtown. But that just matters for Springdale as a whole. It doesn't affect downtown only. But downtown is where we can translate that regional growth into local value. It helps convert outside attention into local spending, and it helps position Springdale as a city that is both growing and intentional about how it grows. So, as far as transparency, I know I was in here last year and you all were asking about where the money goes. So I've worked hard over this last year to be able to convey to you more about how that money that you give us is split up each year. So what does the city receive? The proposed contract is structured around 4 primary service categories: administration and stewardship, economic development, marketing and promotion, and programs and activation. And that structure matters because it shows exactly what the city is purchasing. This is a contract for service with clear functions and outcomes, and we are recommending a 2-year agreement because place-based development, district management work, they need more than a 12-month runway. It also allows the organization to plan in a more predictable way around staffing when they know that it's going to exist for a 2-year period. But at the end of the day, if we don't come through with our service, it doesn't get renewed. As we talked about a week ago, you still have to go through the appropriation process each year. So why a services contract? The service contract helps the city do more for less. It focuses resources on one of Springdale's highest value areas. It strengthens the tax base and provides coordination capacity the city does not currently maintain. So this is not just event management, it's stewardship of a district, and it's a practical way to protect and multiply the return on the public investments already made in downtown. Why DSA? We provide capacity, continuity, and trust. We've spent over a decade doing this. We've built relationships with property owners, businesses, institutions, and city leadership. We also act as a neutral convener. We provide institutional memory that helps keep downtown work moving across election cycles and across staff changeover. Our highest value role is serving as the connective tissue that aligns people, projects, calendars, and priorities so that the downtown can continue to function as a whole. So for 2026 and beyond, what I'd emphasize here is that activations are part of a more disciplined production season. The strategic plan recommends moving away from too many one-off experiments and toward a more predictable annual rhythm of events and activations downtown. So that helps businesses plan, it helps partners align, and it also strengthens our sponsorship opportunities and reduces strain on staff capacity. We have listened to business owner feedback and have made changes this past year. for the coming year in terms of what events happen, where they happen, and doing them in partnerships with businesses through our monthly stakeholder meetings and through committees where business owners participate in the planning of these events. So for example, the Natural State Criterium Series will not be returning this year. And we have a policy in place that we seek local restaurants to participate in the events before we bring a food truck into that event. That way they have an opportunity to expand their business if they want to, but we can still serve the audience of attendees that come. We also work hard to bring food providers in that complement but don't compete with the existing restaurants that are close to that event. So in closing, downtown Springdale is one of the city's highest performing public assets. It's one of the city's most important growth engines. This contract, together with our 3-year strategic plan, is designed to help Springdale capture the value of regional growth and convert it into local value here at home. We appreciate the city's partnership, and I respectfully ask for your support so that we continue stewarding, activating, and strengthening the heart of the city.
Great. Thanks, Paxton. Any questions for Paxton?
Yeah, Paxton, did you say you added 20 new businesses this year?
No, I don't think so. I think we actually added, count was 7 new businesses open their doors. I think we have 3 new businesses getting ready to open their doors in the next few months.
How many total businesses downtown now?
Oh, so I've had my staff going through and creating an exhaustive list of how many businesses, organizations are within the 675-acre downtown, and we're at over 200.
So there are 200 businesses in the,
Organizations and business, if you count nonprofits, people that have their doors that are listing. It's a directory we've been working on. That way we can make sure and reach all the business owners and get feedback from them. Yeah. Going forward, part of the metrics, and I referenced last week about a KPI scorecard, which is kind of corporate sounding, but it's goals and measurables. That's one of the things we want to track is how many businesses, how long have they been here, how many closed their doors, how many opened. So that's something that we can report to you all so that we can chart the progress and whether the momentum's continuing. So that's something I plan to have in the future is to let you know each quarter where we're at.
Anyone else? All right. Thanks, Paxton.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm guessing you're going to hang around. Okay. All right. And now we'll move to item 9, Planning Commission Report and Recommendation. Sharon Tromberg, our Director of Planning and Community Development.
Thank you. Good evening, Council Mayor, Deputy City Attorney. Okay. So both items that we have tonight relate to subdivisions. The aerial might be better. The first one is it's a property line adjustment for the Springdale Housing Authority. The title of this reads, an ordinance accepting the replat, RP 26-02 of Success Subdivision, lots 1 through 14, Block 1 to the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency. This replat is downtown, southeast of Luther George Park, seeking to combine 14 lots down into 3, 2 of which are to cut out some floodway that are not buildable. So the majority of it is going to be a redevelopment project for the Housing Authority. And I think we have a project rep and some folks from the Housing Authority in case there's further questions about the development. But they're going to be replacing 9 duplexes with 2 24-unit buildings and 1 12-unit building. So it's going to bring 60 multifamily residential units and 106 new parking spaces downtown to this neighborhood. The large scale and some deviations were approved in February, and this replat, this property line adjustment, was approved unanimously in March.
It's an exciting project.
I move the ordinance be adopted.
I'll second it. How many did you say is there and how many is going to be there? How many is there currently and then how many is going to be there after?
Yep, so right now they have 9 duplexes, so 18 units, and they're going to trade that with 60 multifamily residential units in 3 separate buildings.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any other comment or questions?
just a quick question. Are these subsidized units or are these market rate units?
Subsidized.
Come on with the mic, Derek.
Thanks. I'll keep it short. Derek Gibson, representing the Springdale Public Housing Authority. But we've got about 200 people. There are 200 families on our waiting list that we had to just shut the list off because of the need in the community. And so one of the missions of the Housing Authority is that how do we expand our offering and help more families? So this really is one of 3 phases that we're working on. So we want to get a win on Success Avenue, no pun intended, but trying to add 42 units to our portfolio to manage and provide affordable housing. So it won't all be low-income housing or market housing. It'll be affordable housing to the families that are in need in the area. So really excited. Lloyd Companies is our development partner. We've got legal representation out of Little Rock to help us stay compliant with HUD and doing all the right things there. So this is the first step of hopefully a lot more to come. Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Derek. Anyone else? All right, we'll call for the vote.
Motion carries 8-0.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the emergency clause. Call for the vote.
Emergency clause is adopted 8-0.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. The second item that we have tonight, let me get to it. This is a proposed final plat for a single-family subdivision. The title of this reads, "An ordinance accepting the final plat, FP 26-01 of Nature Walk, Phases 2 and 3, to the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency." So this development spans a little over 30 acres, located northwest of 71B. So it's at the end of Ridgeview Drive, which was a street that was adopted from Nature Walk from their first phase, but it also extends, that might be the best picture. It actually extends Thelma and Lawndale farther north, about 900 to 1,000 feet each. It does not connect over to Pleasant, but they did dedicate the right-of-way for it. And then they created a couple of stub-out streets to east and west. There's 56 buildable lots and 3 POA lots, one of which is detention. And then they have that large I-1 light industrial tract over to the east. And that was a remainder from a failed rezoning several years ago whenever they first tried to rezone this property for development.
Question for you or Ben. Will Pleasant directly connect to this subdivision? I think I see a road there.
Not as part of this final plat, no. It's something we anticipate connecting if that I-1 land ever develops.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
But no.
So
currently
it
doesn't.
could have a future connection to Pleasant?
Yes.
Okay. And likely will, I hope. Okay. Any action, council?
Move the ordinance pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Other questions or comments?
So, Sharon, if I could have that picture back that you just had, yeah. The yellow part is somehow different from the gray part?
Correct, different zoning.
That's the only difference, but it's still part of the replat?
Yes.
The entire amount? And then what's happening to that part? I guess that's the east. What's happening to that eastern part?
There's no proposal on that area as of yet. So they included it as part of the phase to grade the area and get it prepped, but we have no development. So with these phases, with this plat, they're proposing it as basically undisturbed, undeveloped. If they wanted to come back and further subdivide it, correct?
Would that likely need to stay I-1? Not necessarily? Okay. Any other questions? Anyone in the audience? All right, call for the vote.
Motion carries 8-0.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the emergency clause. Call for the vote.
Emergency clause is adopted 8-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Who took committee of the whole in committee? Anybody remember? Jeff? You want to take this one, Jeff? Sure. Okay.
We had a couple items came to the committee, as committee of the whole. The first has to do with the sales and use tax refund program. I think Jay was here at the committee meeting to discuss that, so I'm not sure if anyone can discuss it tonight, but I'll read the title.
Ernest is ready if you want him, yeah.
Okay. A resolution endorsing participation in the sales and use tax refund program authorized by the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003 and Arkansas Code Annotated Section 15-4-2706D. That resolution was forwarded to the council with recommendation for approval.
The reason Jay's not here tonight is he is at Benton County Quorum Court getting approval for the same project for the same reason. I told him I would pinch hit for him tonight. We've done this several times in the past for various developments. And this
Pull that mic over.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
We've
Thank
done this several times in the past, most recently for Central States Manufacturing. This is for Keytronic on Chief Truman Brewer. I don't know if you heard me, but Jay's at Benton County Quorum Court tonight.
Move resolution passes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve. Any other questions or comments? Anyone? Call for the vote.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. The second item from the committee of the whole had to do with the destruction of court records, also forward to council with recommendation for approval. The title to that resolution is a resolution authorizing the destruction of district court records.
Move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second for adoption of the resolution. Any other questions or comments?
So Ernest, refresh my memory, we used to always nominate Kathy Jaycox to be our council appointee to oversee the destruction of court records. Apparently that law has changed.
Well, I think I mentioned at committee, the reason there's so many statutory references in this resolution as there's different types of records. Some could be considered accounting records, some could be court records, so we just made sure we covered all our bases. I think we have one coming in the very near future from the city clerk as well. So, but you're right, Ms. Jaycox always agreed to fall on a sword from us. But a lot of these records have been digitized, and the statute provides that once they're digitized, then the originals are allowed to be destroyed.
Don't have to have someone oversee that destruction from the council, is that what it used to be?
Council authorization.
Okay, good. Any other questions? All right, call for the vote.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thought we were going to have a first there, maybe. All right, thank you, Jeff. You can keep going. Finance
All
Committee?
right. Yes, I'll report for the Finance Committee. We had a number of items also forwarded to the council. All of these items were also forwarded from the Finance Committee with recommendation for approval. The first item at 11A has to do with the Downtown Springdale Alliance that was just reported on, renewal of a contract with the Alliance. The title to this resolution is a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to renew a contract with the Downtown Springdale Alliance to promote, preserve, and enhance downtown Springdale and to facilitate the implementation of the downtown master plan.
Move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion, a second to approve the resolution. Any other comments or questions?
Paxton, thanks for your hard work. Downtown's looking great. A lot of activities, the hustle and bustle of the restaurants are full every time I come down. So really appreciate the hard work.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Anybody else? Anyone in the audience? Call for the vote.
Motion passes 7-1.
All right. Go ahead, Jeff, I'm sorry.
The second item, 11B, has to do with expenditures of funds to purchase property for the Powell Street Improvement Project. The Title to this resolution is a resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds to acquire property from B.S. Crutcher Warehouse LLC for the Sunset Avenue Extension and Powell Street Improvement Project, project number 23BPS6.
Move the resolution be adopted.
Do you want to say anything on this, Ernest?
I would just add, as we stated at committee, this item and the next item are both associated with the Sunset and Powell Avenue improvements, and these are counteroffers by property owners. These are both, well, actually, I think this one might be industrial zone, the other one's commercial, and these are both counteroffers that the mayor believed were reasonable to bring forward to council. I believe this first one is an increase, I think, of 9% over what the city's offer was. It basically has to do with the north side of the parking lot. This is a large parcel that extends all the way from Turner all the way to Crutcher, and we're basically hitting it on the Turner side and on the Crutcher side both.
We do have a motion.
Second.
And second. Any further discussion or questions? Anyone in the audience? Call for the vote.
Motion passes 7-1.
Thank you. Item C is, like Ernest said, a similar resolution to increase the offer for a Powell Street project. The title to this resolution is a resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds to acquire property from Lourdes Ayala for the Sunset Avenue Extension and Powell Street Improvement Project, project number 23BPS6.
Move resolution pass.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Other questions or comments? Anyone? Call for the vote.
Motion passes 7-1.
Item D, I'll ask Ben to address, has to do with the execution of engineering services contract. The title to this resolution is a resolution authorizing the execution of an engineering services contract for 2026 Springdale Bridge maintenance.
Yep, this is to design the repair for 4 bridges in Springdale, which is deck overlays and then some under maintenance that needs to be done on some of the concrete, some spalling and repairs like that. Those are Silent Grove Road over Spring Creek, Shiloh over Spring Creek, 40th over Spring Creek, and then Shady Grove Road, but that one's just fixing up, getting gravel out of the boxes. So it's really the first 3.
Move resolution pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Other questions or comments? Anyone in the room? Call for the vote.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Item E is also, I'll ask Ben Peters to address this resolution as well. The title to this resolution is a resolution authorizing the mayor to pay invoices for the relocation of electric infrastructure from overhead to underground for the East Emma Streetscape Project 23BPS14.
Yep, this is to take overhead electric underground from Spring Creek north up Park Street to Emma, and then from Park Street to 265 on Emma. The grand total, there's 2 invoices, but the grand total is $258,963.
Move resolution pass.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Other comments or questions?
This is coming out of the bond fund.
It is.
Okay. We'll call for the vote.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. Item F Ben will also address has to do with the awarding of a grant for the Dean's Trail project, as well as the matching of funds for that grant. The title to this resolution is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a Safe Streets and Roads for All grant agreement for Dean's Trail Phase 3B and committing matching funds.
This is for the construction of Dean's Trail Phase 3B, which goes from Don Tyson Parkway south to Lake Fayetteville, including a bridge across Highway 265. The grant value is $5,187,280. The city's match is up to $1.3 million. And this grant took a while. It was first approved in May of '24. So we're finally bringing this to the finish line.
So the matching is coming out of the bond fund.
It is. We were originally going to do this entire project out of bond funds, and then we applied for this grant and were successful. So that freed up some capital we can use on other things.
Move this resolution be adopted.
Second.
Motion is second to adopt. Other questions or comments? Call for the vote.
Motion carries 8-0.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Item 12 is Police and Fire Committee and Chairman Brian Powell. Brian?
Thank you, Mayor. We had one item of business come before us, the last committee meeting, concerning some new generators at Station 1, Fire Station 1, Fire Station 6, and some upgrades to the Mickey Jackson Training Center. Chief Holt's here. If anybody has any further questions, I'll read the title of the resolution. A resolution authorizing the purchase of replacement generators and upgrades to other generators for the Springdale Fire Department.
That's a great summary. Just as a reminder, the request is for an amount not to exceed $252,000, which is about $30,000 more than the bids that we received. And that's because we have some reservation that the scope of the project may expand when they start the demo work and get into our aging equipment. But we do expect it to be under that amount. But all of it is budgeted. We accounted for that $252 in our budget.
Chief, I got a question about the Mickey Jackson Training Center. Do you allow any other municipalities to use that facility?
Yes. Yep, the state, ADAM, Arkansas Fire Training Academy, and then we host classes that are used by other departments as well.
Move resolution pass.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Other questions or comments? Anyone in the audience? All right, call for the vote.
Thank you. Motion carries 8-0.
Chief. All right, item 13, I'll go ahead and read it. A resolution amending resolution number 34-26, setting a hearing date on a petition to abandon a portion of a utility easement in the city of Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas. Ernest or Garrett, y'all have anything to add?
Yeah, so I can take this one. So the body passed Resolution 34-26 back on February 24th, which set a hearing date for March 24th city council meeting. And in your last committee meeting, y'all decided to change that date to March 31st. So this resolution is just amending that resolution so that the statutory notice requirements for that petition to vacate that utility easement will be met.
Move the resolution passed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions? Anyone? Anyone in the audience need to speak to this? Call for the vote.
Motion carries 8-0.
Okay, understood. Thanks for being considerate. All right. Well, I will try and keep this short because I want to get everybody out before the storms start. I think they're still supposed to come tonight. But this is number 18, State of the City for me. And it's been a true joy, and they sometimes get easier. This one's a pretty good one. We've got a lot of good things to talk about. I'm not going to touch on everything by any means. Like I said, I'm going to try and keep it short. But I'm going to say something I've never said before. The state, not that I couldn't have, but I'm going to say the state of the city, state of Springdale is strong. You realize that by a state statute, I think that's all I've got to say. And I probably shouldn't have told you that. But God is so good, and we've been so blessed as a city. Last year, I'm just going to highlight a couple of big projects that I know y'all are as proud of as I am, and our residents are proud of them. One is our senior center. I saw Lori's here tonight, doing such a great job leading that center, and we hear it all the time. I can't think of any project that we've done where I've honestly had no negatives. Somebody will say something about the parking, but they hadn't been there. It's just been a great thing for our city. This council years ago made a tremendous decision when you all agreed to take over our senior center. You noticed in the paper just a few weeks ago that several senior centers in Northwest Arkansas are struggling, and I don't know how that's impacted us, Lori. I know that we probably had an uptick. But we serve, our center serves so many of our residents in such a quality way, and we're very proud of it, and I know you are too. Just a few weeks ago, our library, many of you were able to be there for the ribbon cutting for the expansion to our library. A great space, hearing great things about that as well. If you couldn't make the ribbon cutting and you haven't been in to see it yet, I hope you'll make it by. Because I know you'll be proud of that too. I'm not going to go into all the bond projects from 2023. I'll give you a couple of updates and just ongoing projects that include the Don Tyson Parkway extension. If you've not driven out by there, Ben, it seems to me to be moving really fast. When do we think the end date? Or when's the scheduled end date? Yeah, if I'd have prepared right, I'd already have that.
Let's put it this way, we plan to put curb down in 2 weeks.
Okay, so it's going fast. Thank you for your support for that. That's going to be a big project. Also, Gene George to the north and to the south. The south is we've got grants for that. Y'all have approved the match. That's through with federal money through regional planning. And this last section that's going to be next to begin or the next section will get us down. I think we've got funding in line for the rest of it. So it's going to head on down to Johnson, and Johnson, of course, they're prepared to pay their portion that they need to. So Gene George to the south, also Gene George to the north, 56th Street currently from Elm Springs Road, north county line, is going to be a really important project for us and a popular project, and that's moving right along as well. The East Emma project, Park to 265, you all just approved the payment for the utility relocation, or at least for the electric, I think, and getting all those utilities underground. Going to make for a really nice project that'll run there in front of our new senior center, the Jones Center, community clinic. It's going to be a really important piece for our downtown and ensure that we have some quality on-street parking also on that part of Emma. That east part of Emma is really going to continue to blossom as new development happens around there. So this is an important project. Also, Sunset to Powell. We approved two acquisitions tonight. I don't know how many of those we've got left, but we've got to be getting close to the end, and that's moving right along too. And that's That's, to remind you, that's Sunset extended from where it currently ends, I guess at Turner, all the way to Powell, but it is also going back on Turner into the, where Holcomb runs in. So it's really going to run from Holcomb to Powell, new street construction. And then also part of this project is from where Sunset will intersect with Powell Street, south all the way to 412, and a bike and pedestrian tunnel under 412. And that's all part of this one project. So another big project for us, and I'll get into our airport in a few minutes, but it's going to be a big project to help our airport for sure. Our downtown will continue to build on its momentum. You heard a lot of good news from Paxton tonight. We're going to have continue to have more residential housing. Our second hotel will open later this year, Hilton Tapestry. New Tyson offices, as Paxton also mentioned. I think the last I heard, about 100 Tyson employees will move into what was the Fuller Fixtures building. And if you haven't been by there, they're also working on the parking for that just to the west across the street, across Water Street. The restaurants, I get dangerous when I start naming restaurants because I'm going to leave somebody out. But this year, soon, we'll see Gaskins Trattoria, I think I don't know how that's pronounced, but my Italian's not very good. But it's going to be, they're on Holcomb. Also, Simply Scoops Ice Cream, I saw the awning has the signage on it now. And AQ, big one. So that's supposed to open hopefully in May, right on the Greenway. Our overlay district, the crossings, continually adding dining options. UAMS Orthopedic Hospital continues to go vertical. Big project there. Arkansas Children's Northwest is nearing completion of their expansion, their latest expansion. The Teslar building, if you haven't been invited yet, you will be. The Chamber's scheduling the ribbon cutting for the Teslar building on Apple Road there. And beautiful building. But a lot of great things going to continue to happen in our overlay district and really all over town. We've got things happening all over Springdale that we just continue to see development and people investing in our community and offering more options for our residents to enjoy, and not only our residents, but people from around Northwest Arkansas. I talked last year during this time about regional issues that we're all running up against. I reminded everybody about if you don't know the story of the formation of Beaver Lake and the work that had to go in to create that and the difficulty it must have been to get that financed and to get all those things approved, when really probably the vast majority of residents in Northwest Arkansas didn't even see a need for it at the time. But we would not be anywhere near where we are now without that asset, without that reliable water source. But we're facing other challenges in relation to growth. Just this week, I'm serving on a board that is going to explore regional solutions to our wastewater issues. Now, I will tell you, I was in about a 5-hour meeting yesterday, and I was very proud of Springdale Water Utilities. They got called out in a good way, more than once, because Springdale, we've got I think a 24 MPD, is that right? Okay. We got a 24 plant, million gallons per day, and we're using consistently about 12 of that, so about half its capacity. In Springdale, our issue in dealing with growth is not capacity of our plant, it is transmission. It's getting the sewer to the plant, because as we have grown, that's an expensive endeavor. But in many other communities in Northwest Arkansas, it's both the plant capacity and transmission. So we're setting in a good place, but when you're talking about Springdale being the largest city in Northwest Arkansas by 2050, projected to be about almost 160,000 in population, even in as good a shape as Springdale Water Utility is, we've got work to do, and we need to work on regional solutions. And really, not to brag too much on our community, but anything regional, we're going to be in the middle of it anyway. It's not going to happen without us, and we need to be at the table, and we need to be leaders in that. And I'm thankful that we're positioned as leaders in many of these regional discussions about how we move forward. Solid waste is another one. Right now, the Boston Mountain Solid Waste District is in discussions with the Benton County Solid Waste District to look at the possibility of a consolidation. And if not a consolidation, then better collaboration. The landfill, all those discussions will also be a part of that, but solid waste is also a regional issue that we're going to have to continue to address together. And no one city can handle all those things on their own. It's going to be everybody working together. And that's going to require cooperation from all of us, including our council. We'll always be homers. We'll always think of Springdale first. But I'm thankful we've got a good seat at the table and are helping drive those conversations. At regional planning, primarily transportation issues, we're also well positioned. But that's a really big one. They're talking about our last meeting. We actually asked for a study, a toll study, to see if tolling roads in Northwest Arkansas is a way forward where we can get projects built faster. It may not be. That may not be anything, but we've got to look at it. So we're looking at other solutions as well to help us address our rapid growth and how to move people. You know, as great as, and I'm going to talk about a lot of grants here in a few minutes, and as great as our relationship is, we've got a highway commissioner from Springdale and RDOT, at least for the rest of this year. We're hopeful that we can, that's an at-large position. We're hopeful that our governor will appoint a replacement from Northwest Arkansas. She could appoint one from anywhere in the state. And we're going to do everything we can to, it may not be from Springdale, but if we can get that at-large position out of Northwest Arkansas, we would be well positioned to continue to be well represented. For involvement in the Arkansas Municipal League, our city's very involved in the Arkansas Municipal League. We continue to be at the state level. I serve on the 911 board, which we worked with all of our PSAPs, our dispatch centers. We consolidated, I think, from well over 100 down to 78. That was the result of state legislation that required that. But that was not a comfortable process. But it was necessary. And I honestly believe we could consolidate more. And I've had that discussion with both our chiefs. And there are regions much bigger than Northwest Arkansas that don't have 3 PSAPs like we do. So, but those will be other discussions to have. But again, we're at the table. From a national level, I'm blessed and thankful to serve on the board of directors of the National League of Cities. I've got our convention in D.C. next week. I'll miss our committee meeting. And I say all that just to say that it's a pleasure for me to get to sit in a room of people from around the country and tell them I'm from Springdale and talk about Springdale. And talk about how God has blessed our community and continues to, and our region. I talk about our region a lot. And People aren't surprised when you talk about Northwest Arkansas now from around the country. Most people are not, if they're in leadership somewhere. But all this involvement that I think is important, as I said, Springdale will always be most important to everything we do. But it's important that we shine a light on Springdale. It's important that when we're looking for regional solutions, that Springdale's one at the table, and will continue to be. That's only possible with the support of this council, certainly our residents, and my staff. I've got a chief of staff, I've got a deputy chief of staff, and others in my office who pick up the slack when I have to be at a meeting for 5 hours one day, or when I have to go to DC for several days. And I'm so thankful for them and for the work they do. And I've got department heads that I know I can depend on to carry on and to do their work and keep me in the loop on things. National Guard update. We're actively working with our airport commission. I want to thank the council for your joint work session with the airport commission. That's going to be a process. We've got, right now, we're looking at ways to see if it may not even be needed, but we need to look at our policies and procedures, the airport commission. Those have not substantially been updated since 1995. And I'd say things have changed, and our airport certainly changed, and the opportunities at our airport have really changed. So with the Guard coming and with all that's coming with that, we don't want to make a misstep. If we need to buy property, if I come to this council and say, and ask you to buy a piece of property, you need to know why and how it fits into our master plan for the airport, and what benefit it's going to have for the airport and ultimately for our residents. The only reason we care about the airport is because we care about the residents it serves and the economic impact it brings to our city to help us serve our residents. So, and that's going to be substantial, I believe, with the National Guard. I told the chamber I've been blessed to be here over this 18 years to work on a lot of important projects for Springdale, or to at least be a part of the process. I don't take credit for any of it, but at least I got to be here and be a part of the conversations. And I don't know of anything that's going to have more lasting impact, I don't believe. You could make an argument for Children's Hospital in another way, but as far as long-term economic impact and job creation and job training, I don't know of anything that has more potential, if we do it right, than the National Guard coming to Springdale. And that's why we're so excited about it. I told you, those of you who are at the chamber meeting, Sandy and I will have been married 49 years this August. And I've not pursued anything this hard for 49 years. And so I haven't told her that yet, but I guess she just heard it. Yeah. But the National Guard, I want to go ahead and make you another announcement. I know many of you have tried to come to the Springdale Mayor's Prayer Breakfast in the past. It's always a great event. It's what I believe is probably the largest prayer breakfast in Arkansas. It's the largest one I've ever heard of. We'll run anywhere from 350 to, we've had as many as 600 or 700 people there. And it's always on the National Day of Prayer, which is, this year it's always the first Thursday in May, which this year is May 7th. And our speaker, I'm so happy to announce that our speaker is Brigadier General Chad Bridges, who is he's the head of the Arkansas National Guard. And he's been obviously involved with the governor and with us in this project coming to Springdale. And he's a man he's a man who loves the Lord and who believes deeply in the power of prayer. And he was excited and pleased to be able to have his schedule open where he could come and be the keynote speaker at our prayer breakfast. So that's Thursday, May 7th, 6:30 a.m. Breakfast will serve about 7, and you'll be walking out by 8. And this year it's at Cross Church. We move it around, but being at Cross Church, we'll have room to have a big event. So I hope y'all can put that on your calendar and make it if you're able. It's always a good event. Just to put some things on your radar, we've got our downtown parking proposal possibly coming to you. We haven't seen it yet, but it's some business leaders in downtown along with an architecture firm and the city of Springdale that we're hoping we can come up with a public-private partnership that works. I can't stand here and tell you it does. I can't stand here and recommend it because we don't know what it looks like yet. But we will have a presentation for you within the month, where you'll at least have the beginnings of that discussion. And it'll be to discuss the possibility of a parking deck on the block over here between Spring and Commercial and Johnson and Emma. So hopefully that'll be something exciting that we can make work. But we know we did a sports facility study, and we're talking with property owners and looking at what possibilities there are for a sports facility. And that's going to be a slower process. I wish I could say it wasn't, but I think that's going to come. It's going to be a little more difficult than the parking discussion to begin with, but we'll keep moving forward on both of those. But I just want to keep them in your grill in case something busts loose that we can bring forward and talk to you about. A lot of other exciting possibilities. Gosh, I heard about one this morning, just out of the blue. I told Colby about it. About blew us both away. I got to find out if it's true. So I'm not about to say it here, but really good possibility that would really mean a lot to Springdale. So I hope that comes to pass, and I hope I can talk about it soon. Grant successes. I've tried to underline or put an exclamation point behind some of our grants that we've received, and you've been very gracious and appreciative and shown appreciation for those grants, because a lot of it does have to do with our staff. We've engaged. You've approved the contract with Merchant McIntyre in Washington, D.C. They've been tremendous as far as I'm concerned, and while I'll be meeting with them, Colby and I and Anna will be meeting with them next week at the end of the NLC conference to talk more about where we are with the Guard. Hopefully we'll be meeting in D.C. with Commerce Department and talk more about the grant opportunity that we're trying to secure there. And that's looking really good, by the way. But I just wanted to go through these just for a minute and give you a sense of how hard we're trying to stretch our dollars here. And you see these because you have to vote to match every one of them. And you always do that, so thank you. So our senior center, in 2025, $75,000 in grants. Now, those were all private grants that Lori worked on. I don't want to leave somebody out. The Walker Family Foundation, the Tyson Foundation, Schmeeding Foundation, and Central States Manufacturing. $75,000 to help our senior center. Great work, Lori, and we appreciate them. I'm not going to name all of them like that, but those were private grants, so I was categorizing them a little different. Springdale Fire Department, in 2025, $173,000 in grants. Our library, which just expanded as we talked about, $62,629 in 2025. These are grants either awarded or received in 2025. Our museum, I saw Angie here earlier, still here. Excited about seeing that project too. It's looking good outside over there. I hadn't been in it yet. But the museum secured over $90,505 in 2025 in grants. Springdale Police Department, $523,755. Y'all, that's money we'd otherwise be taking from somewhere else. That is great work. And engineering, it's kind of cheating putting this on engineering because they're dealing with road projects. But $39,938,007. I can't do that without thanking RDOT and our Highway Commissioner, Philip Taldo, Congressman Womack, Senator Bozeman. They have been instrumental in helping us get these grants. But so has Merchant McIntyre in working with all of them and our staffs in each of these categories, with the exception of maybe Lori with those local grants. But Merchant McIntyre has, I just got to tell you, Brent Merchant's words to me were that they work with municipalities all over the country, and they have never worked with staff more prepared and more capable and more supportive of and giving them the information they need than Springdale staff. And I think that's a big attaboy for our staff. So total, in 2025, either granted or funded, grants, we received grants totaling $40,862,740. Why is that important? It's because it's getting tax money. In the case of federal and state grants, it's getting tax money back to our residents who we all pay taxes. And if we don't get that money, it's going some other community, somewhere else. It makes our bond money and our local resources stretch farther. So, to wrap up, yay, applause line. I realize I'm on the downhill side of things. I've served 18 years. I'm over a year into my last, what I've publicly said, this is definitely going to be my last term. And I'll actually turn 70 this year, which really hurts to say. Septuagenarian, that's what I'll be. But I know that some of you can relate to this at least. As we get older, I tend to think we dwell more on what we're leaving. What we're leaving behind for those who will follow us. I've always wanted things our city built to age well and to last and to be great for the future, but I think I dwell on it now more than I ever have. And it's not what I have accomplished or what you've accomplished to me. And I mean when I say this, I believe anything I do well is a direct result of God's blessing on my life. I got a Sunday school teacher, Donnie Smith, many of you will know. And he says, I love it when he says it, but he says, talking about heaven and eternal life, and he said, I wouldn't trust the best 5 minutes I've ever lived to get me to heaven. And that's true. That's biblical. God did it all. And he sustains us all. And when I walk away from here for the last time, it doesn't mean I'll be done. I'm going to do something else. My dad worked in my upholstery shop till he was 90, so I'm going to find something to do. But I just pray more and more often now that God will allow me to finish well, to finish strong, and to make good decisions. And y'all are partners in that. I want you to know that each and every one of you, by name, are prayed for at least every week, because we do it in my prayer group that meets on Tuesday mornings. Along with our airport commission, all our commissions, our planning commission as well, our department heads, because I believe that's important. So, thank you, council, as always. We don't always agree on everything, but I want you to know I respect each one of you and what you bring, because you're representing our city and you're doing what you do because you love Springdale. Our boards and commissions, they don't get paid for what they do for the most part. Planning Commission gets a little bit, but they do what they do to serve our residents. And then, of course, the residents of Springdale who've put up with me now for 18 years and probably have a little more that they have to put up with me. But this has been the greatest job I ever had, because it allows me, and I know you'll agree with this, it allows me and it allows you to serve our community. Thank you to each of these folks sitting over here and behind me. And Sandy, my kids, always support me, even when I'm hard to support. And I'm thankful for them as well. Sandy and I I think I said we'll be 49 years together this August. And I told the department heads this story the other day. There was one moment that I knew she was the one for me. We were playing baseball in her backyard. We were dating. And the whole family was out there. Sandy's family was out there. She doesn't know I'm going to tell this. I don't think we've talked about it in 49 years. But we were out there, and the sun was going down, and her dad, Roy Hunt, was out there. And we had a hard ball and wooden bats, and we were getting after it in their backyard. And it wasn't that big a backyard. And it was starting to get kind of dusky out, and getting a little harder to see. And he said, I think we better quit. Somebody's going to get hurt. And without hesitation, Sandy said, well, let's keep playing and see who it is. I thought, that's a girl I want to marry. So, Sandy, thank you. Do you remember that? Yeah, I thought you would. Anyway, God bless y'all. Thank you for what you do for our city and for supporting me. Whether you agree with me or not, we're friends, and we're doing a lot for Springdale. And I'm thankful for that opportunity. Good night. We're at item 15. Any comments from council members?
Again, I would ask you to
Oh,
comment on the.
oh, I thought you did it while I was walking up there. I'm sorry. Okay. You were asking me to do that. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you did it, Jeff. I was getting ready for my speech and all wrapped up in that. The next council meeting, because of spring break week, the next council meeting has been postponed for a week. It worked out really well this month because we have an extra week. We had a free week anyway at the end of March. And so somebody help me with the dates on that. I'm not looking at a calendar.
24th is the Tuesday, I think that you're saying you're skipping.
Yes, we won't have any meetings that week, so that would be the week of the 23rd. We'll have no meetings, and we will have council on March 31st, last day of March. And that will allow us to keep our first committee meeting in April right on schedule. So it'll work out great. Council voted to do that last meeting, and so make note of that. Any other comments from council members?
Well, congrats to Garrett on his first go-around.
Didn't he do great?
Yeah, but the voice will take a little while to get used to, Ernest.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else? Comments from city attorney or deputy city attorney?
I would like to thank Ernest for being a great steward of the city attorney's office and teaching me, and I need all the teaching that I can get. And I look forward to the opportunity to work with y'all, and I just appreciate that. So thank you.
Good deal. Thank you, Garrett. I don't have anything else. I've talked enough. We have a
After
motion to
that
adjourn.
soporific soliloquy. We're adjourned.
All right, we stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.